Welcome to Loansanddrones. This is Bill Pendley, and this is episode 27. Today, we're doing something a little different. We're going to put this into a smaller version of our episodes, and we're going to call it the Quick Clips. Today, we're talking about the goal for 2025. 2024 was a complete mess, in my personal opinion. You might have not thought that, but it felt like when we were finishing up 2024, it was like at the last 100 yards of a marathon, and we're crawling across the finish line. So we're putting together a new goal, a new reset for 2025. With the last couple of weeks, I've had a lot of things happen. We had COVID. My wife and I had COVID. We lost our dog for 12 years. It was such a loyal companion. And we're just thankful to be past the 24 year and start a new year. So what does that bring for this year? My word that I was thinking about when I had one eye open on my deathbed of COVID was excellence. What is excellence? Excellence is striving to become better and better and better. And with the new team that we're building at UHM here, we're putting that together and really setting a new standard for what we're going to accomplish this year. And so when I put together that word and actually thought of that word, I thought of three things. 1, articulate. 2, expedite. 3, delegate. And with that, we put together a plan with our team to really level up and put a new standard of business in our lives. So when we're looking at the industry that I'm in, the mortgage industry, everything is about setting up proper expectations. So with that number one spot, which is articulate, is very important. When you're looking at putting together an articulated message, I think the best way to do that is to really bullet point. So like going back to the beginning of this episode, I gave a message of what word we're using for this year, which is excellence. And then I coupled it with 3 bullet points. I think if you keep it at 3, that tends to keep people focused. But if you go more than that, that's when people get a little confused and they start becoming deer in the headlights. When you're looking at putting together a message for anybody, you really want to just focus in on what the main points you want to make, and then you can come back and explain it. Initially, what happens is the listener will actually hear the first 3 points you're making. So the other piece I want to mention too is that there's so much confusion that goes back and forth on email, text messaging, DMs, whatever it is, Facebook. There's so many arguments that you see on social media just because somebody interpreted a message that somebody gave the wrong way. In this world, this is my personal opinion. If you go back and forth more than once or twice on a message and you know that person, you're trying to maintain a relationship with that person, pick up the phone. This is where people get it so wrong. I used to do it myself. I used to send these long War and Peace novel emails upsetting the person to the point where they never really wanted to talk to me anymore. Well, it sounds simple, but the social norm is to just hide behind a text message or a computer. We had a pastor one time that always said, look, if you're going to send out a text message or an email with some just anger behind it, some wrath, try doing this. Write it down on a piece of paper, go walk out to your mailbox and see if you're still angry by the time you put it in your mailbox. That's a pretty good example of what it means to actually hold up, not kill somebody with the words that you're actually putting out there, but to actually pick up the phone and build that relationship and restore the relationship. So articulating can be taken a couple different ways. 1, to salvage and maintain a relationship. 2, to actually get the message across and set proper expectations, especially in our business or real estate. That message is very, very vital on the very beginning of the process of buying a house. So that's why we do a buyer consultation. We actually put that together and we put it in bullet points and make sure that the client, by the time they're done with that conversation, knows exactly how to buy a house and they're comfortable. Now, the second piece is expediting. In today's world, we've actually seen so many people leave the industry. In fact, in 2021, we had 420,000 loan officers nationwide. And this year alone, there were 93,000 that had renewed their license. That's crazy to think about. The reason is because the service level just wasn't there and there's too many people. And obviously the market did what it did. Brian Buffini would actually say this too. When you have a recessionary market, there's a level up of service. And that all boils down to how fast I can get back to the person, how I can articulate the message, and make sure that the experience that that client gets is smooth, like no other. And I think you're going to see that in 2025. If not, those people will not be in the market, or they won't be in the industry anymore. So, in fact, I just had a deal with a real estate agent that I pretty much told to take a hike because of the fact that they didn't work for their client, and there was an appraisal that came in about 10% lower on the value, and they didn't even go back to the seller and ask for a reduction in cost. And that's just not a good service. That's not good service to the client. So I told the agent what I thought, and I articulated the message very clearly that I would never be working with him again. So that's just stuff that you'll see in the industry. Expediting is one of the key factors of staying in the business. If you're not picking up the phone, if you're not getting back to anybody if you're not getting back to people quickly, then you are actually going to be out of the business sooner than later, especially in a market when you have a very tough market like we have. I work on this diligently with my team. So the way that our system is set up is we have an onboarding system where we bring the client in through the application. I have my onboarder person, which we call an LP1. I have her follow up right away to make sure that they are getting the data correct. We're getting documentation from the client, and we're moving forward with the process. And it's just like being at a restaurant, right? The minute you sit down, you want somebody to show up, give you water, and you also want to feel validated, like somebody noticed that you were there. That's the way we want the client to experience the process from start to finish. And we make it super smooth for that person. That's because of the fact that we're articulating the right message and we're expediting the process so that they don't have any bumps in the road. Obviously, there are turbulent times in the industry, but if you can smoothen those out with just the principles of articulating and actually expediting the process, it takes away a lot of the pain that people deal with in the home buying process. The last thing I want to mention is delegating. In so many worlds that we live in, there's people that will get stuck in a problem, and they won't find the right resource or find the right person that's going to be able to help them. After being in my company for about 7 months, I've actually found the right people that are actually able to get problems resolved within a matter of seconds versus me trying to figure it out or me trying to find the right person. I've actually found those 3 or 4 different people that will help me expedite the process. And we delegate that, and I drive that home with my team. If we're going to be stuck in something within 15 minutes, you always want to put a timeline on it. If I'm going to be stuck in something for 15 minutes, that's a waste of time. You should be able to know the answer within about 5 minutes. And if you can't find that answer, then you find the person that can. I mean, we have AI tools in our industry that we can use and get that information. That's the beauty of the technology that we live in, technology world that we live in. But at the end of the day, that answer may not be correct. So you want to find that right person that has the right answer and can get the job done. The way that we built our team is we have a front-end person and we have a back-end person that will actually take our loans from start to finish. And those people are mastering the art of the onboarding and also mastering the art of the one-touch underwriting system that we use. And I just think that you can master that piece, but if you don't have one piece of that that's working well, find the person that's going to be able to orchestrate that and keep you flowing in the right direction. So with that being said, that's the 2025 small snapshot of Bill Pendley and our team in order to make sure that we're striving and thriving in this market to become excellent. And if you have any questions or needs with anything, feel free to reach out at any time.